With us in the studio, Bishop Margaret Wanjiru. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation and coming on Citizen Live at 9.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Now, let's just deal with the elephants in the room. When you joined this political race for 2013, initially you were running for the governor of Nairobi.
Yes.
That is the position that you wanted to be in.
Yes, yes.
Rumors started circulating, question marks about your credentials, and you vehemently are on record stating that you had the right credentials and they were real. But unfortunately, within your own party, some people deemed them to be below par. Could you please clarify the air for us? What kind of credentials do you have? Yes, you did state that there were degrees. From where? Yes. And why did that stop you from running for the governorship?
Okay, for starters, there is what we call the Commissioner for Higher Education. Commissioner for Higher Education is an institution that validates the degrees. For the case of IBC, what they do is validate and or equate degrees. And those are only foreign degrees that are from abroad. So mine are degrees from America, USA. Now in America, the church and state are totally two different entities, and that is constitutional. So you don't have to be, as a Bible school or a seminary, you don't have to be under the Ministry of Education or the U.S. Education Department. You don't have to be under the U.S. Department. Why? Because you are specializing in one subject. So my degrees are theological. But that is neither here, neither there, because they could have been agriculture or be medicine or be something else. But in this case, they are theological degrees. Somebody asked a very ironic question the other day and said, can Bishop Margaret explain to us how she got straight A's in her doctorate? And the person he was asking answered back and said, I would be surprised if she got B's and C's and D's. For this reason, she is a Bible person. I am a preacher. I preach. Anyway, time came for us to fill in our forms, make our application to Orange House, which is our headquarters for ODM, and submit our documents. So me, I put my documents together. I had no reason to put 2 degrees. I could have put only 1. But I decided, let me put 2 and a couple of certificates, including a certificate I got in 2010 at the Harvard University. Now that certificate was even paid up by government. So I submitted my documents to Orange House, went there, handed over, they were checked, and I was told it's okay. I had also the payment that we are supposed to pay for the party nomination, I had paid through the bank by depositing the money in the bank. So what I did, I went, I showed the deposit slip, and I got a receipt. Photocopied the receipt and attached on the documents. Off I went. 2-3 days down the line, somebody calls me, one of the officers there, and says, you have not paid for your nominations. So we are going to disqualify you. I said, what? I've not paid for my nominations. I paid.
And you have the receipt?
I have the receipt, but even much more, I have the deposit slip. So eventually, I sent one of my people from my office to go with the receipt and the deposit slip. What the person did not know, the one who was making that call, is that there was a deposit slip. The receipt copy that I had left attached to my documents had been plucked off. And to me, that was a red flag. But we brushed it off. We said, okay, maybe somebody was just malicious, but since we have made another copy and now we have deposited, the money is there in the bank, the deposit slip is there as proof, let's leave the matter at that. We left it at that. A few days again later, I'm in Parliament. And I'm just talking. I love laughing. Me, I laugh all the time. If you manage to get me angry, you really are bad. So me, I laugh. And this friend of mine in Parliament, who is one of the principals in the court government, came and said to me, you know, where shida yako Bishop Margaret? Oh, unacheka tu hapa. Na hujui kwako kumewaka moto. I said, what happened? Said, go to my office. There are documents that have been circulated by unknown persons, and they have been circulated to all the principals. So I went to his office, met the secretary, made copies, and went with them. I checked those documents. I saw the photocopies of my degrees are there. All my certificates are there. And then a lot of materials from the internet. Now, since, number one, those documents were not served to me, I've just collected them from a friend. Secondly, it's a lot of what I would call a lot of nonsense from the internet. So when we talked about it amongst ourselves, one of my staff said, if we start bothering with propaganda, we're in an electioneering year. At such a time, propaganda is everywhere. So let's not bother with it. Let's continue with our work. By then, we have hit the grassroots. We are moving all over Nairobi with our campaigns. We were doing very well. Somewhere along the line, just before that document was given to me, there was a poll that was done where I was leading. That is the thing that crucified Bishop Margaret Wanjiru. Before that poll was released, nobody knew I was leading. So nobody was troubled about me. But immediately the poll was released, my opponents started asking, hey, she just announced the other day. How come she just announced the other day and now she's leading? Some of us have been campaigning for almost 2 years, which is not true, but now she has come and overtaken us. Now, me, I'm a household name. Me, I'm known. I'm a crusader. I live in this city, in this county. I walk in the slums. I work in the slums. I'm with the people day in, day out.
So the opponent here, you're saying, would it be Evans Kidero?
Never mind.
You're not clarifying for us who this opponent is?
Don't ask me to mention names.
We would really love to know
the
names.
No, don't ask me to mention
names. But just
names.
an opponent.
You can fill in that for yourself.
Okay, we will do so.
Anyway, here I am, and I'm thinking, we are doing well, but this poll sort of like is sending bad signals. My opponents now are ready to attack. These documents that we received from my friend's office, brush them off. They were entitled, the letter on the cover was from a certain lawyer. I left them. A week later, just before, there is a time when nominations were postponed. A week later, just before the nomination date, then another document was now circulated. And this time, it was served to the National Elections Board. And it was from a different lawyer, not the first one. A different one. So I'm asking, what happened to the first one? Anyway, when they were served to the board, I thought the board would call me. I thought the board would say, what is this? What is happening? But they didn't. However, I did get my lawyer to find out what is happening. Excuse me. And when he found out what was happening, I was called. And I was told the only thing you need to do for the CHE, because the law is very clear, they can validate or even recognize and or equate your documents. So submit your transcripts. So through my lawyers, I submitted my transcripts. But I made it very clear. I'm submitting my transcripts, but I'm not the one who went to inquire or to ask for validation at the first time. It's not me who went to say, verify this document. It wasn't me. So really, okay, I'll submit my transcripts, but I'm not the one who started the subject.
Yes.
So I submitted my transcripts. A few days later, I called CHE. They said, Bishop, your transcripts are good. You'll get your clearance letter tomorrow, which was Friday. Friday, I called. We are busy in a function. You'll get your letter on Saturday. In the meantime, one or two other people that are vying for governorship got into a similar crisis. And I thought, okay, I'm not alone, we are many. So in this case, when I'm being cleared, everybody else will also be cleared. What I did not know is that everybody else will be cleared, double standards will be applied, me, nobody will clear me. I had also seen an article in the first document that was given to me by my friend. I had seen an article in one of the media prints, an article that gave the wrong impression of my Bible school, where I went to school. And this Bible school, I've worked with them for years. I mean, Brenda, for a moment I thought, okay, 2 years I've not been there. Could something have gone wrong that they closed or they collapsed or what happened here? So I had written a letter myself personally to our Washington, D.C. Kenyan embassy. And I wrote to the ambassador and said, can you check out these two colleges for me? Can you find out, are they operating or what happened? I've not been in the U.S. for a while.
Yes.
So, and then I said, if they are still operating, can you find out when I was a student, when I graduated, are these degrees genuine? I wrote to him a very sincere letter, and I sent it over. So as time goes by, I said, on Friday, this guy says, you'll get your letter tomorrow. Now, government offices don't work on Saturdays. So I told him, but tomorrow is Saturday. He said, it's okay. On Saturday, I called him. I said, is my letter ready? He said, no, but can you give me the links to the Bible schools? So I text him the links. He texts back. Let me finish the story. And he says, they are very good. It's okay. We'll talk on Monday. My friend, when Monday came, the man wrote 2 very bad letters. One to the National Elections Board and one to myself. Mine was a bit mild. They were actually different letters. While ordinarily he should have written the same and probably copy. He wrote very bad letters. I had the letter now that the US, the Washington office, had already replied to me through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
So I went with a letter to the National Elections Board. And I said, something is wrong here. I have a letter here saying these universities are legal entities. They are accredited to TAC and to WWAC. Where is the problem here?
Okay, I'm sorry, I have to cut you in now.
Yes.
We've given you a chance to give us a very detailed story of what happened. So in short, what you're telling us is that your degrees are legit.
They
and
are
that there
legit.
was serious foul play to make sure that you do not garner the
Governors-
nomination for the governor's seat
governor's
for
position.
ODM.
Yes.
So basically, you're not even going to tell us the name of the principal who kind of gave you a warning that this would happen. That is, but you're saying it's a principal within the Quad coalition.
Yes.
It's one of your opponents within the, I assume,
Who
ODM.
did the whole
Who did
thing?
all the shenanigans.
Yes,
We ourselves will put 2 and 2 together.
Yes.
Who basically caused foul play in order for you not to be able to run for that position.
Yes.
Well, thanks for clarifying that. That ship has sailed. You're no longer running for governorship.
You need to allow me to say something.
Unfortunately, because of
Yes.
time, let's swiftly move on because there's something else we want to look at.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of people listening are also sympathizing now that they've heard your side of the story in terms of the governorship. But now
Okay.
let's look at the position you're running for, which
Senatorship.
is senatorship
Yes.
here in Nairobi. And right now, many eyebrows are raising. Fine. Maybe there was foul play in terms of the governorship, but some are even stating, isn't there some kind of foul play as well in terms of senatorship? That
Good.
position was given to your fellow female counterparts within ODM.
Yes.
And that is Elizabeth Ongoro.
Yes.
And you were given the direct nomination, which is
Yes.
what you're running for currently right now. So some people will say, isn't it a bit hypocritical of you, especially now having heard your story, that you accepted that nomination, and
Yes.
yet that was for Elizabeth Ongoro, who now was being told to go and run for the MP, given a direct nomination, I beg your pardon, for the
Yes.
Raraka, where someone else had already all the sweat and blood and using their money to run and won the position for the MP Raraka, and that person is also being moved. Lo and behold, yes, indeed, if your story is factual, I'm not saying it's not, there are 2 sides to every story. You made lots of accusations. Is it right for you to have accepted the nomination for the senatorship of Nairobi when you've seen how it has displaced other people?
Very good. You've actually given me an opportunity to finish the story.
Okay, go ahead.
So during the nomination, one meeting, I was told just before the nomination, your name will not be on the ballot paper. I thought it was a big joke. So coming to the nomination day, my name was not on the governor's ballot paper. There was no ballot paper for senator's position. Nobody should lie to you. And nobody should tell you there was only one person running for that position. There were 2, as far as I know. Then there was no ballot paper for woman representative. That tells you that this has been planned for a while. So coming to the actual day of voting, people, because of what happened to me, Nairobians for once decided to protest. And my people do not protest by burning tires. No, they will just stay silent. So most of the people never came out to vote. The few that came out to vote, on the governor's ballot paper, they wrote Mama Bishop, Margaret Wanjiru, Mama Nakazi. They actually wrote things or names that relate to me on the ballot paper. So by the end of the day, the nomination day, my votes were more than those whose names were on that ballot paper. What message did that send to our office? It said, you cannot do away with Margaret Wanjiru.
So
The reason
is that
why
you say you're given that position?
Hold on.
senatorship?
The reason why there was no senator's ballot paper, nobody explained. There was no woman representative ballot paper, nobody explained.
Okay.
So the elections is over, the nominations are over. Governor gets his certificate, everybody else gets his certificate. The waters have settled, and I was called.
Why did you accept it? That's a specific question.
The number 1 position I was offered was woman representative, which I refused to accept. Number 2 position I was offered was Senate, which I said I will think about it. But I said at the time, in the meantime, while I'm thinking about it, as you are talking to me, also talk to Elizabeth Ongoro. And for sure, Elizabeth Ongoro was called. I was there when her and our seniors sat down, and when they left together. So I am sure she was spoken to. What arrangement they got into, I'm not privy to that. However, when now time came on merit, me, I did not get senator's position because I'm female or because of my tribe. It was purely on merit. Who has the popular vote?
So you're saying it was not meritful, if that's correct English, for Elizabeth Ongoro to have been given that?
I mean on merit in terms of electorate, in terms of voters.
Because you claim you've got more voters and more of a populace than Elizabeth.
That's the reality. That's the truth of the matter. That is why I was given the senator's position. Personally, I said to the principals, if you give me this position, now regarding, once beaten, twice shy, considering what happened with the governors, then I also must play safe. So I get senator elected and senator nominated. Okay. Somebody has a plan for me somewhere along the way.
At least that one you will be able to consolidate. So from what you're stating, as far as you're concerned, the principals had a conversation with Elizabeth Ongoro, and as far as you're concerned, she was in the loop in that you were going to be given that.
Yes.
So if that's the case, then why would she go ahead, speaking about Elizabeth Ongoro, and make the statement that the senatorship has become a dumping ground for academic dwarfs?
Because she wanted to justify her position. But also insulting me was not right. Which I have forgiven her.
So have
However, we do talk on and off. However, I must state, probably my qualifications are higher than hers.
Oh.
So calling me academic dwarf or whatever she called me doesn't hold any waters. I love that sister of mine.
But the claws are coming out.
I actually fought very hard for her to make sure that she enters into the list of nominated senators and that she's ahead of me. You know me, I'm still on the ballot paper.
Yes.
And that she was ahead of me. I do not fight fellow women. And Elizabeth knows we have worked together. But also don't forget political parties, including political leaders, including National Elections Board. They have to look at where are we headed to, what do we want in Nairobi, and so which is the wisest decision in such and such a case.
And according to you, it was rightful for you to be given the nomination as senator. So fine, you've already gotten it. That is that's the status quo right now.
Yes.
I'm a fellow Nairobian. You're seeing my fellow crew members here. We're quite a number of us. Why should we vote for you for senator? and please don't give us the status quo manifestos that we hear left, right, and center. What exactly are you going to do for us?
For starters, we must understand the role of the senator. The role of the senator is an oversight role. The senator will have to work with the county government, which is composed of the county reps with the governor. Work with them to plan. Work with them to budget. Now take the budget and let it pass through the necessary government arms and also through the parliament. You must fight for that budget to be passed. Once the budget has been approved and it has passed, now your role is monitoring and evaluation. You oversee the projects being implemented. You cannot fight for money. It's out, projects are being implemented, and you have nothing to do with them. No, you must be there to play the supervisory role. You must see that these projects are benefiting the common mwananchi. They are meeting the needs of the people. Check and balances must be put in place. Now, there is what we call transitional authority, which is the arm of the government that is now standing in between our former system and now transiting to the county governments. There are functions that they are transferring from the old system to the county government, from the national government to the county government.
I'm sorry, Bishop, but this sounds very theoretical.
Yes.
For the simple 190, you are the MP for Stare, you have your simple man out there.
Yes.
What is it that you're going to do for them?
For once, the transitional authority, you must look at what have they transferred to the county and what is it that they have not transferred. A good example, they have transferred the markets because the county will not touch anything that is not transferred to them. And if we are not careful, this will be to the meaning of devolved governments.
Yeah.
The markets have been transferred to some of the counties, not necessarily all. But the law that accommodates what we call fair trade, I believe in equity. You are supposed to be fair to everybody. If we do not have fair trade laws in place, it means the common mwananchi, the hawkers on the streets, the transport industry, which comprises of the matatus, the boda, the lorries, the small, the SMEs, and the MSEs, they will not be accommodated. You will find that, yes, the county is saying the matatus are using our roads, but the law that governs those matatus is not within the county, and that will not work. What does that mean? My number one role immediately I get in, by God's grace, is that I will make sure that the necessary laws are passed very, very quickly so that we can be able to accommodate our people and administer the necessary services. If you allow me to continue.
Very briefly, please.
These laws that oversee, this oversight role over the county implementation, where do we start? Number one on the list.
Oh, Bishop, please make it very brief. You're coming on Power Breakfast tomorrow, so you'll be able to elaborate more there.
Very brief.
Yes.
Wealth creation. Yesterday, the Code government, the Code coalition, we passed our manifesto.
Yes.
We released our manifesto. Jobs, jobs, jobs. So wealth creation is top on the list. We must create jobs for our people. To do that, we must have the right laws in place to be able to implement what we want to do.
True.
That is my number one job. Number two, waste management. As you can see, the city is very dirty. Garbage everywhere. But our youth are busy collecting garbage every day.
Yeah.
It is us on the government side who fail them. So what do we want to do? Do we want to bring private investors and then sack the youth? No. Take the same youth, empower them, get them consultants, train them, and get into a waste management that can recycle that garbage and make it to be profitable. And the same youth benefits from those resources.
Sounds very encouraging as well. In case you do win the senatorship for Nairobi, and your fellow ODM partner, Evans Kidero, does get the governorship, you ready to work hand in hand with him?
He doesn't have a choice. He has to work with me.
Are you also ready to work with him?
Whoever comes in as governor, we don't have a choice.
All right.
The senator and governor,
you got to work together.
You have to work together, and not only senator and governor, even including county reps, but even more so, we are ignoring the MPs. MPs have become so powerful that we cannot do without them. Apparently, once you are in, you have to be everybody's friend.
That is true. So you'll have to put your differences aside and work well.
For sure.
Well, March 4th is coming.
Yes.
And one of your fellow competitors was here last week. We're talking about Mike Buvi Sonko. He spoke about you. He declared his great love for you and how you're friends. But he did raise something and stated, as a bishop, he said he found it quite hypocritical of you to decide to be in politics. He stated and also quoted several verses from the Bible stating that you have absolutely no business being in politics and you should instead focus yourself on being the shepherd to your church flock.
He did not quote the Bible. He misquoted the Bible. I was watching.
No, he quoted the Bible, but probably delivered the message in the way he understood
in a way that he thought was right, but it wasn't.
So really, what's your take on that?
My take is that Zechariah 6 allows both offices, the office of leadership in governance, which is politics, and the office of priesthood, which is the bishophood that I do. Those two offices function together. Zechariah 6 says the two offices are in harmony. Now, that is a subject that we went through 2006, 2007, and we are way beyond that. Now, talking about my friend Mike Sonko. Sonko is one of my many, many, many sons. My many, many, many sons. And I have nothing against Sonko. Sonko is a young man who just needs to be guided. A young man who needs to be mentored, who needs to be guided. Bottom line.
Bottom line,
yeah.
He would love to have a tete-a-tete with you. He did make that request that he would love to come here on Citizens. So would you honor that? Could we have both of you here and we hear what both of you would like to do for Nairobi?
Yes, why not?
That arrangement will be made. Consider it done.
That's okay.
Well, March 4th, it will be you, Mina Jenga, whom we had on Power Breakfast this morning, LPK also under court, Bishop Adoyo, Mina Jenga under the Kenya Solidarity, Bishop Adoyo, LPK, yourself with ODM, but you're all under the court, versus Sonko of TNA. Definitely a very interesting race that we're looking forward to and we'll be covering. Thank you so much, Bishop, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And for giving us your side of the story. And Bishop Margaret Wanjiru will also be with us tomorrow morning.
I don't know whether it's tomorrow. I think
Power
it's one
Breakfast,
of these days.
One of these
I'm
days.
not sure that it is tomorrow.
Just stay tuned on Power Breakfast. She'll be breaking it down more for you, what she'll be doing. And that is, sorry for that camera movement, and that is what she'll be doing for us if she wins the senatorship of Nairobi. Well,